start with a little bit of team news about who might be available, particularly Lucas Paqueta. You said he was close. How close is he? Is he ready to?
He's been training, so yeah, he's probably ready to be included in the squad. Whether he's ready to play or not, I don't know, but he'll certainly, we think he could be involved. Yeah.
Nice little boost for you.
Yeah, we're beginning to get some injured players back. Nathan Agard has played his first 90 minutes last night as well, so he's been out for, as everybody knows, 3-4 months, whatever it's been now. So getting closer to getting him back as well, and obviously Lucas Paqueta getting closer to fitness as well.
And how much does last night set you up for quite a big week? I mean, not only was it a win, you had a ton of academy players, gave your other guys a little bit of a rest in what's been a pretty full-on season.
Mm-hmm.
As you approach the last week, if you like, before this first half of the season, that's got to be pretty good to go into.
Yeah, well, look, we earned it by the way we won the games in the early rounds of the tournament. You know, some of the games we didn't play as well, but we split the teams up as well. We had to play some of the seniors, and but in the end, you know, we found ourselves top in the group in Europe, which is excellent from our point of view. So yeah, but we've given ourselves a chance to leave some players behind. They didn't need to go to Romania, and obviously the Premier League, I think, will always be the bread and butter for most clubs, and from my point of view, it certainly is.
And it's probably a bit of a rarity that you've actually, I mean, you obviously weren't here all the time, were you? But to have the same amount of prep time as some of the other sides that you've been playing is a bit of a bonus in a pretty bonkers season.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you could think we've had the same prep time this week when we just returned for Hungary. So we've certainly not had the same prep time as the others, because we've focus was on another game which was in midweek.
And with that in mind, I mean, almost an hour, you can't have an hour that goes by without somebody else being ruled out of a World Cup. What discussions have you had with some of your players that have still got at least 2 games for you to play? How do you keep their focus and their worry? Because you've probably seen it, haven't you? Players go out there not wanting to get injured. Sometimes that's the most dangerous time.
I've not really had any conversations with them. They're employed by West Ham United. They get paid by West Ham United, and that's where their responsibility is. Obviously, we're very mindful that a lot of them are really looking forward to playing in the World Cup, but we're also got a job to do here, and I've got supporters and owners and everybody else who want to see the team winning. So that's where I sort of got off at it, and that's my position.
And as you sort of sign off from the first half of this season, clearly, you know, you want 2 Premier League wins. That will set you up nicely. And when you look at the table and see, I don't know, not many teams defensively have conceded more. Is it in the attacking area that you can really push on sort of second part?
Look, I think the first part is right. We'd like to try and finish in a strong position. I think that some of our performances have merited a bit more. We need to turn that into goals, which you've just alluded to there, that we've probably just been a little bit behind on them. But look, let's hope that we can we keep performances. Good performances tend to lead to good results, and I'm hoping that's the case.
Hi David, good
Hi
afternoon.
there.
You became the first team to win all 6 games in the Conference League. Yes, it's a new competition, but how significant is it from your point of view, especially after you played so many youngsters yesterday?
I think from our point of view is because we're relatively new back in Europe. We had experience last year, and we had a really good group stage last year. This year we've done the same. So, I mean, it's a big credit to the boys, you know, playing in Europe. Not done it that often. Now you look at the teams who've been knocked out in maybe playoff games or not getting through the group stages last year. I can think of a couple of teams who didn't get through these stages. So from that point of view, you know, I think we deserve a bit of credit, which, hey, look, we accept. But the truth is, we don't get a trophy for winning the group stage, and we know that we're going to have to play well in the second half of the year in Europe if we're going to progress further.
If you look at the most recent domestic game against Man United, disappointed with the result, but plenty of positive elements from your performance at Old Trafford.
Very much so. I mean, I thought there was so many good things to take out from the game. You know, we looked as if we were more liable to score. David De Gea made a few really good saves. We had a game where we felt as if we competed against another top team, and you know, there was periods in the game where they were the better team, but there was also periods in the game where we were the better team. So that's good from my point of view, and I see that as making progress, and I see it as a continued climb to try and be a side who can be around the top more often.
What did you make of Crystal Palace performances so far this season, and what do you expect for them this Sunday?
I think Crystal Palace have been a side which is, I think they've signed very well. I think they've made good signings over the last couple of years. I think they've built maybe in a way where they think's right for what they've got. I mean, Patrick Vieira's done a really good job. I think their football's good. I think there was a lot of really good foundations put in by Roy Hodgson before MD came in. And Palace have always been a hard team. They have an incredible support at their stadium. So I think there's a lot of good things about Crystal Palace, and we know we're going to have a really hard game.
It's nearly the World Cup break. How would you assess the new additions, the new signs and contribution to the team, and the way they settle so far?
Good. It's taken us a little bit longer than we'd have liked. I think if we had them, a lot of them in more pre-season friendlies, or had them ready, I think it could have helped us. But I have to say that we've really enjoyed the new boys who've come in. I think it's now we're the players from who's been with us mainly for the last couple of years, or more than that, are performing much better as well. So yeah, we feel better about ourselves, but obviously we need to show that by the points we gain.
Thank you.
Sonia from PA.
Hi David.
Hi there.
You gave a number of players a break for the trip to Bucharest. How much of a luxury is it to be able to do that, and does that bode well for sort of the rest of the season, given how many games there are and the World Cup as well?
Well, I hope it bodes well for the next game rather than the rest of the season, because that's the reason why you hope that you've given the players a little bit of breather. A lot of them didn't need to travel with us, but they earned it because they all had to perform in games earlier in the season. They didn't all start them, but quite often they were coming off the bench to get us results to win the group. And probably the most pleasing thing was that we ended up last night being able to give ourselves more youngsters a game. And actually in a few of the other games, like Silkeborg last week, we were 1-0 up, and I couldn't really get the second goal or the third goal, which I could probably put in more of the young ones and get them more playing time. But they done the job, the players, and it meant that in this game we were able to do so. But I really hope that them getting a few days off. There was none of the international players travelled except Nathan Agard, who needed to play, Alfonso, the ones who we maybe expect to go to the World Cup. So from that point of view, we're trying to look after them as well, and I think it was ideal for them to get a few days break.
And we've seen a number of injuries in the last week, and quite serious ones with players ruled out for the World Cup. Are you taking any steps to sort of mitigate that at all?
No, but what I will say is that it's a time of season where injuries happen. We normally we go into the Christmas period where you're asking the players to play a ridiculous amount of games over a short period of time, but this is what we do, and we know our culture, and that's what we do. But to ask to sort of draw more highlight to it now is it's probably the same amount of injuries as what you'd have been getting if last season when there was no World Cup. So if people are surprised, then they shouldn't be, because with football comes injuries, the amount of games, and let's be fair, with the players, the clubs, the coaches have had to put up with the huge scheduling. Everybody's had big scheduling and an awful lot amount of games, so I don't think your question should be too surprising by knowing that there was injuries.